night I was able to see Wuthering Heights. I went into the film with no prior knowledge of the plot of the book, having only seen the trailers for the movie, so I'm reviewing this entirely as a film and not at all as an adaptation of a book because I have no knowledge of the book. And generally speaking, I'm not really into period piece romance stories. It's just not my thing. When it comes to this movie, it is a movie that just oozes style. It can be very funny at times. Almost the entire movie is just absolutely gorgeous to look at. And it's also a very uneven film at the exact same time. The movie kept me engaged from beginning to end. I was interested in the characters. They're compelling enough. They're complex enough. And the scenario they're in is just fascinating enough you understand why each character made the decision that they did, but you're frustrated by the way it tears certain people apart. And this can be funny at times. Of course, it can be steamy at times. And it's very often tragic and kind of gut-wrenching. The central premise of the movie basically involves Margot Robbie growing up with a physically and emotionally abusive father who adopts a little boy basically as her plaything and to be the help. And Margot Robbie and this little boy trauma bond and become obsessed with each other for life. But in that basic structure right there is what makes the movie really uneven. Because it's presenting this trauma bond of two very broken people that were abused as kind of this romanticized, steamy relationship that you're rooting for. But both of them have their own monstrous tendencies where the abuse that was poured onto them, they pour onto other people. And so there's a very uneven nature of trying to sexualize and get you to root for something that's very, very dark and broken. And it goes to some really dark places with characters that feel out of place in the movie. With Heathcliff in particular, he gets really dark in the last third of the movie. It was I felt like that kind of came out of nowhere. And I read some things, maybe it's more prominent in the book, and it felt like out of the blue for me watching the film. But it's just like a movie that did a bunch of things really well, of just capturing these gorgeous images, having a very distinct style to it, a mood that you feel like it captures it perfectly. And at the same time being it never fully was able to balance, are we telling a story about trauma and exploring that? Or are we doing this steamy romance that how can they ever make this work out? It's doing two things that I don't think fully gel quite right together. And the end in particular felt like it kind of came out of it wasn't a satisfying resolution because it just felt like this other element is what resolved the plot rather than choices that characters made or the inevitability of the journey that they were on. It was just something else allowed the resolution to take place. So a lot in here I really enjoyed and appreciated, but a very uneven film at the same time. I like to eat healthy, high-protein meals, but I'm busy. I've got a YouTube channel, 3 kids, a wife, and it takes a lot of time to prep, cook, and clean up after a healthy meal. Factor removes that entire problem. It doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. 2 minutes, real food, done. Factor is already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. Always fresh, never frozen. It's whole food ingredients, lean proteins, colorful vegetables, and healthy fats. The stuff you would cook with if you had the time. Just got back from the gym. We've got queso fundido and ground beef and cauliflower rice, all with over 40 grams of protein. They have 100 rotating meals every week, high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, ready to eat salads, and a new Muscle Pro collection for strength and recovery. I love the fact that they added that last one. You pick what fits your goals. Healthier eating, calorie management, more protein, whatever you're actually trying to do. This isn't motivation to eat better. It's eliminating the reason you don't. I've been eating Factor meals for several years now, and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/SeanChandler50off and use code SeanChandler50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.